Yeah, I'm a journalist reporter on a regional title, so I do a lot of work online using social media. So we have to have open profiles so people can get in touch. And I had someone message me on Facebook. It initially went into my sort of spam inbox because I wasn't friends with them. But I check that every so often because people might get in touch with legitimate queries. And this person had a profile that wasn't sort of obviously a real person, but I wouldn't say was obviously fake either. And they'd sent me kind of a series of messages, and it happened a few times over the course of about 3 months, where they used quite abusive language, calling my stupid C word, and then sent a lot of very extreme pornographic content. Like I say, happened I think 3 times over 3 months, often the same kind of content, and some of it was images and some of it was videos, like GIFs or videos. So you were just kind of confronted with this really quite unpleasant, horrible, upsetting, pornographic content, really, from just opening my work inbox. It wasn't obviously in response to any one piece, but it was definitely targeted at me because I am a journalist, and I do quite a lot of work around what you might call women's issues, and also just, I think, because I'm a woman, I think they, for whatever reason, felt angry or targeted by some of the work that I do. I made sure that my social profiles were sort of as private as they can be while still being accessible for people. So part of the thinking was to try and make sure that any time someone wanted to get in touch with me, they would generally be directed to my email. So even if people were to get in touch with, unpleasant, abusive messages, it would all sort of come to one place, and then in email you can set up certain filters. So if content has a certain word in it or something, it can go into a separate inbox. And then even if you do choose to look at it, it's about, being prepared and being able to choose when you look at it. I reported the individual to the police and to Facebook as well. It's difficult when there's no face behind a profile. It's not obvious who this person is, but I was quite surprised that the kind of content they were sending me could even come through on Facebook, because it was so extreme. It hasn't changed the work that I do because I think it's so important to keep highlighting and exploring a lot of the issues that I do explore in my work, these kind of issues that do primarily impact women and girls, like domestic violence and very kind of misogynistic acts. It certainly made me more anxious and wary about strangers reaching out to me, which is difficult because that is a big part of my job, and more aware of my online presence as well and how easy it is to find someone and target someone in that way. I wouldn't ever sort of let it stop me doing the kind of work that I do, or take any power away from me. But I think it's really important to recognise that this kind of thing is increasingly impacting particularly women online and women whose jobs require you being online and having some kind of online presence, and that it's just not acceptable and shouldn't be tolerated. Even if it doesn't stop you doing your day-to-day job, it does have an impact. It's difficult for me to not open my Facebook profile now and think about those messages anytime I maybe check that spam inbox. I'm always slightly worried that it might come back. And, you know, the fact that I think this really felt targeted at me because I'm a young woman doing a public-facing job, I'm not convinced they would have sent a man the same messages.